Right now at 10, a new bill would incentivize Wisconsin school districts to merge. We'll break down how consolidations could impact your taxes.
And there are new plans to build a 6-story apartment complex along the Yahara River, while residents aren't exactly happy about the project.
And whooping cough is on the rise across the country. The reason doctors say we're seeing this spike in cases. It's all coming up on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Franke. Public school districts in Wisconsin are overwhelmingly losing students and also overwhelmingly turning to referendums to fund their basic operations.
Republicans in the state assembly have introduced a package of bills incentivizing districts to consolidate. Maddie Heimsch breaks down the legislation.
It's a package of 6 bills we're looking at, authored by Republicans to support schools that are considering consolidation. One calls for a study of existing district boundaries and revenue limits. One incentivizes grade sharing between districts, and one raises the consolidation payout per student by more than 1,000% of what's currently required by state law.
We are trying to provide some tools that districts can use that might help them.
Representative Amanda Nedweski co-authored several of the bills, emphasizing that the incentives are voluntary for districts to take if they choose to consolidate.
Schools are the heart of our communities. People are a little nervous about letting go of that or maybe joining in with somebody else, the district next door.
Just over 800,000 students were enrolled in Wisconsin public schools during the 2024-25 school year. That's the lowest headcount in decades. Meanwhile, since the revenue limit on schools stopped adjusting to inflation in 2009, more districts have turned to referendum than ever just to fund operations.
The endless cycle of referendums is going to push people to the point where is that emotional attachment to the district greater than their desire to increase their own taxes through referendums.
But Democrats on the Assembly Committee on Education, where the consolidation bills passed through today, say there are other ways to solve the referendum crisis.
There are other ways to do things, such as investing in our public schools.
Arguing that the legislature should provide funding that would eliminate the need to merge districts in the first place.
I don't know why we're hyperfixating only on the ideas that have to do with closing rural schools.
In a statement, the Wisconsin Education Association Council responded to the bill package, saying, quote, educators, especially in rural areas most impacted, believe elected officials should strengthen local public schools instead of creating laws to more easily close them.
And that was Maddie Heimsch reporting. Thank you, Maddie. The package of bills passed in the Assembly Committee on Education and will go to the Committee on Rules next week.
Well, it's a beautiful day out there. Supposed to be even better tomorrow.
So, Alex, how warm will this Friday be?
Hey, let's try this on for size. How about 64 in Madison, 64 in Baraboo, 65 in Lone Rock, and some 66s towards the Mississippi River. That means some places in southern Wisconsin approaching 70 degrees on nearing a mid-November day. That is short-lived. 62 on Saturday. That high will likely be in the late morning to early afternoon, and then the temperatures are going to take a tumble. We'll see temperatures throughout the next week into the 40s, and with those temperatures, there will be some precipitation chances, and we really could use the water. This is the very latest drought monitor as of today. We've had an expansion of abnormally dry soils and water conditions stretching from really all of southern Wisconsin. There's just a couple of little pockets left that are not experiencing abnormally dry conditions in southern Wisconsin, and an expansion of moderate drought conditions in parts of southwest Wisconsin. So coming up when I am back here in, let's say, about 10 or so minutes, we're going to track the rain chances that we have in our future, and then a little bit later in that weathercast, I'll let you know how much rain we could see over the course of the next 10 days. That's coming up.
All right, Alex, thank you. We now know the names of 3 people who died in a rollover crash in Madison last week, and it happened Saturday morning on Cross Country Road. Police say an SUV rolled over, throwing all 4 people from inside the vehicle. Makiwa Turner, Alan Wright, and Khadijah Berry were pronounced dead at the scene. The 4th person of in that crash was in critical condition as of Monday. A small dog also perished in that accident. And 2 people are in custody after a stabbing that happened in Marshall. Police were called to Blue Spruce Lane for a disturbance. This was just before 5:30 p.m. yesterday. There, officers reportedly found the victim with stab wounds and other injuries. The victim was taken to an emergency room and is expected to survive. During the investigation, police arrested 2 suspects. One faces tentative charges of attempted first-degree intentional homicide. The other has been tentatively charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide as party to a crime.
Well, some Madison residents are pushing back on a 6-story apartment building that could be built near the Yahara River. This project is in response to the ongoing housing crisis in the city. By 2030, Madison officials plan to create 15,000 new homes through a Housing Forward initiative. Now, despite the need for homes, a lot of residents in the 6th district do not think that this proposal is a good fit for their neighborhood.
They think that it's too tall. They think that it's too many units in that spot. They think that it's not appropriate on that street, that we should build something like this on University Avenue or East Washington Avenue instead. And my point is, Winnebago is a major street, and it's on the bus line. And if you can't build a decent-sized building there, then where can you build it?
So anyone who would like to give feedback should look for updates on 6th District Alder Davey Mayer's community blog, which you can find at cityofmadison.com.
Mortgage rates rose for the 2nd week in a row after reaching the lowest level of the year. According to Freddie Mac, the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged 6.24% for the week ending today. Mortgage rates had been steadily falling in the weeks leading up to the Fed's 2nd rate cut of the year last month. They've mostly held steady since then as investors weigh the Federal Reserve's next move. And the Trump administration evaluating portable mortgages. That would allow homeowners to take their mortgage rate with them when they move instead of taking out a new loan. The proposal aims to address the housing market's lack of supply. The administration says it's also weighing how to make mortgages assumable and whether to introduce a new 50-year mortgage option.
A group of high school students in Middleton has been awarded for their work raising money for local food pantries. They go by Middleton Meals Matter and have had 2 events in just the past few weeks alone, bringing in 7,200 pounds of food. Today, they got a standing ovation and more after being named Youth Philanthropists of the Year. Middleton Meals Matter has been working hard to respond to the SNAP crisis, but prior to that, they recognized a serious need.
We realized talking to Way Forward that food insecurity was at an all-time high. Currently, 1 in 10 people in Dane County struggle with food insecurity, and 1 in 6 kids struggle with food insecurity in just Dane County alone. So we wanted to help and create a positive impact. So we've been running food drives for the last year and a half, and we raised about 60,000 pounds of food and over $25,000.
How about it? Middleton Meals Matter has more events planned as well in November, including one at the Metro Market on Junction Road the 16th. Also, the Goodman Community Center is getting ready to help families in need for Thanksgiving. It's right around the corner. This year's basket drive starts Saturday, and they need your help. The center is looking to fill 4,000 baskets with food and donations. News 3 Now is proud to partner again this year, and you can start donating money online right now at goodmancenter.org/donate.
A new study in the journal JAMA Oncology suggests a link between ultra-processed foods and cancer. Researchers followed more than 29,000 female nurses for a median period of 13 years. It found those with the highest intake of ultra-processed foods had a 45% higher risk of developing growths that led to cancer by the age of 50 when compared with those with the lowest consumption. Doctors say diets with the best health outcomes are made up mostly of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and plain water. And cases of whooping cough are spiking across the nation. Last year, cases were up 6 times from the year before. Advanced symptoms include violent coughing fits that can cause vomiting, as well as difficulty breathing. Doctors say there are several factors behind the rise in cases.
I was speaking to the health director in Dallas County yesterday. He was saying normally their back-to-school vaccination clinics are packed. This year, they were very sparsely attended, and part of that is fears about ice.
Doctors say there's also waning immunity to vaccinations because of changes made over a decade ago to minimize allergic reactions and side effects. Increased testing may also be catching more cases.
Well, we are in respiratory virus season, and there are ways to protect against them naturally. Doctors say making healthy choices, simply consistent exercise, staying hydrated, and eating foods like fruits and veggies is always a good step. But natural immunity starts with getting other underlying medical conditions under control.
Do you have any medical problems that we should be preparing your asthma medications for the fall and winter? Should we be making sure your diabetes is well controlled?
Then, of course, doctors say getting good sleep and managing stress are also critical for immune system health. And if a patient smokes, one of the best ways to avoid viral infection is to stop smoking or at least cut back.
Next at 10, legal teams for two of President Trump's high-profile adversaries appeared in court today.
And the government shutdown is over, but how long will it take for services to get back in action? That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Today, legal teams for former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James were in court.
They're arguing for the Justice Department's cases against them to be thrown out. Now, James is facing indictments for bank fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. Comey for obstruction of justice and making false statements to Congress. Both have pleaded not guilty and argue the interim U.S. attorney in Virginia prosecuting the cases was improperly and illegally appointed.
Most likely they would be dismissed with what we call without prejudice, which means that somebody could bring these charges again.
A federal judge residing over the cases said she will decide by Thanksgiving whether the Justice Department can move forward with its prosecution.
The longest government shutdown in U.S. history is now over.
But it will take time to get things back up and running in whole again. Erica Brown now with more from Capitol Hill.
In the hours after the government reopened, federal employees across Washington returned to work.
I hope we can all agree that the government should never be shut down again.
The spending bill signed by President Trump will now fund the government through the end of January, guarantee back pay for essential workers, and reverse layoffs of federal employees. The measure also funds SNAP benefits for a full year. The White House says government workers could start getting back pay as soon as this weekend, and the nearly 42 million Americans relying on SNAP benefits should receive payments within days. But there is still some uncertainty for travelers, with FAA flight restrictions still in place at major airports for now. But travel disruptions are winding down as air traffic controllers return to work.
Just want to get home safely.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says some TSA officers who showed, quote, exemplary service during the shutdown will be rewarded a $10,000 bonus.
They went above and beyond. They helped individuals. They served extra shifts. They helped with transportation of people getting back and forth to work, other challenges that families may have.
Here on Capitol Hill, the fight over health care continues, with Democrats still pushing for extensions to Affordable Care Act subsidies they say will be critical to keeping health insurance premium costs down.
Tax credits expire on December 31st, and we will stay on this issue.
And I said, as soon as the government was open, we would turn our attention to health care and all the other issues that are out there.
Over in the Senate, lawmakers are expected to hold a vote on health care next month. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Well, it sure was nice out today, but we could use some rain.
Alex, any showers or dare I say snow in sight?
A little tiny chances, but I want to emphasize very, very small chances, at least over the course of the next 7 days. Friday night going into Saturday, just a tiny chance of a sprinkle or a shower. Maybe a little better chance Monday going on into Tuesday as a weather system gathers near and gets a little bit closer to Wisconsin. But we do have a bigger weather system in the 10-day forecast, which I'm going to show you here in just a couple of moments. But again, this front coming through on Saturday. First to let you know here, probably going to come through dry for the most part. We see a little kink in the winds here coming in out of the west and northwest from Lone Rock and areas off towards the northwest from the southwest at 6 o'clock in the morning. That means Madison, we're right on the edge of that front as we go into Saturday morning. That's not optimal timing for energy to build up for any showers. And by the time we get into the later morning hours on Saturday with that cold front coming through, the sun may actually return and the day is going to be pretty mild, even though the winds will turn back to the northwest, ushering in colder temperatures following that cold front. Why do we need this? We have abnormally dry conditions that have expanded across much of southern Wisconsin, even a pocket here now of moderate drought conditions really expanding across southwest Wisconsin. So we most certainly could use the moisture in any form that we can get, rain or snow. Now, the next part of our weather story here, the temperatures behind that cold front, 40s all of next week. And those temperatures are fairly close to normal, but just a tiny bit shy of normal for this time of year. Nothing about normal, way above normal for high temperatures on Friday, 64 in Madison, 64 in Janesville, the 66s to 67 now in Prairie du Chien. How about that? Try that on for size. So enjoy that day. Another reason why you're going to want to enjoy this day, the winds. They're going to be light for a change. So not gusty winds that we've been experiencing the past couple days, but that's short-lived too. As that weather system draws a little bit closer, the winds are going to pick back up Friday night for a mild night for the Friday night football games, but winds stay strong and gusty throughout Saturday, and they'll be gusty on Sunday as well. 30s for low temperatures tonight, clear to partly cloudy skies. I emphasize clear to partly cloudy because we're right on the edge of still having that potential of seeing northern lights tonight. So take a peek out to the north after the newscast. Maybe you'll see some photos, something similar to what Amy sent us here. You can scan that QR code if you do have northern lights photos or any weather photos for that matter. They'll show right up on channel3000.com/weather, and then we like to get those photos as much as we can on air. Down the Badger game on Saturday in Indiana, temperatures in the 70s. The New York Giants game on Sunday, 50s in rain, just in case you want to know what the weather's going to be like for those away games. And then we have those good chances for rain Thursday going into Friday of next week. That's the weather system that I think is going to bring us some appreciable amounts of water. Again, mild night tomorrow night, but folks may be interested in that 10-day outlook. Now, I know this is 10 days out there, but weather models are pretty consistent, showing a wet pattern next Thursday and Friday. We'll take all those drops.
Much needed.
For sure.
Yeah, thanks,
Alex, thank you. Coming up in sports, Badger football looking for another upset this coming Saturday. This one will be a little tougher. Hear from head coach Luke Fickell, getting ready for second-ranked Indiana on the road. Stay with us. It took a bit, but the Wisconsin football team finally got its first win against a ranked team under head coach Luke Fickell.
And while the win didn't come easy, Fickell is enjoying every bit of it. Reporter Nash Dara has more from Camp Randall.
What a win it was for the Wisconsin Badger football team and program on Saturday. In a season that has felt like the perfect storm of disasters finally saw some light. And of course for Wisconsin, that light happened to come during the midst of a snowstorm. The 13-10 win over the 23rd ranked Washington Huskies was by no means a pretty one. But with what has transpired this year for Luke Fickell and the Wisconsin Badgers, you will take a win however you can get it, even if that means your punter leading the team in passing yards.
Sometimes, seeing is believing, and just having that joy and that excitement is what the game is all about. But to be honest with you, I think more than anything, it's the competitive spirit. And that's a little bit of the issue. We haven't been in some of those positions where at least make it a competitive spirit where this is going to come down to the finale. And that's what was awesome. That was awesome to see. It was awesome to be a part of. And then everything else that follows with it, right? Of an incredible crowd, an incredible environment, including the weather. But then again, you got about 14, 15 hours to enjoy it, and then you got to be able to move forward. And the challenges are still right in front of us, and they get bigger and bigger as we continue to go.
The Badgers, still technically hanging around that bowl eligibility hunt, will need another win against a ranked opponent. This Saturday, Bucky hits the road to Bloomington, Indiana to take on the number 2 ranked Hoosiers in what is another must-win game. For now, at Camp Randall, Nash Dara, News 3 Sports.
Thank you, Nash. And don't forget to watch the Wisconsin Huddle tomorrow night. Wisconsin Volleyball's Allie Andrew is this week's guest. The show starts Friday. That's tomorrow at 6:30, right after News 3 Now at 6.
Well, Monday, the Packers defense gave up only 10 points against the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, a stark contrast from their performance weeks earlier.
News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde caught up with the team's defensive coordinator on how they got out of their funk.
A couple of weeks ago, Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley came in for our weekly Q&A session knowing what was coming. Packers defense had given up 40 points to the Dallas Cowboys in a tie and was not playing at the level it had been early in the season. Well, a few weeks later, now the defense is playing at a high level and the Packers offense is struggling. So I asked Hafley, how did they get out of their funk as Matt LaFleur and the offense work to do the same?
All joking aside, it's not going to change how
how I act, how I walk around, how I talk, how I coach, and how I treat these players. Confidence and belief and consistency, I think, are really, really crucial in this whole thing, and that's not going to change with me. And I think that goes back again to my time as a head coach when I've seen both ends of this, that's the key. I mean, that's how our players have to react. And watch, I got confidence that our offense is going to go out, and this is no disrespect to the Giants, and we're going to score a lot of points. I mean, that's one of the best head coaches in all of the NFL and one of the best play callers, who I still hate going against in 2 minutes like we do today, because he's really hard to defend. And they're going to get going. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about what we did against the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense. So we're going to be okay. But I'm not changing how I am, so you can't bring me down today. Or tomorrow.
We'll see if the Packers offense can get going against the New York Giants on Sunday. It is a homecoming for Jeff Hafley, who grew up about a half hour from MetLife Stadium. He will have about 30 of his family and friends there for the game. We'll have full coverage of everything leading into the game on channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers our coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. And the Packers defense looks to keep the hot streak going Sunday. Kickoff is set for noon.
Well, the Milwaukee Bucks return to WISC-TV this weekend. Morgan Murphy Media and WISC-TV once again teaming up with Weigel Broadcasting to bring Bucks games to fans in Madison. The first free game to watch will be Saturday. Bucks host the Los Angeles Lakers. The coverage starts at 7 o'clock. And that's all for sports.
Alex will have a final check of the forecast when we come back.
What you doing tonight?
That is a very, very good question.
That's what I do, baby.
I know, you're good at it.
Steven's chatting it up with Michelle Obama, CBS Tonight.
Scientists have identified 3 species of tree toad that leapfrog over the egg to tadpole stage. They're cute. The females give birth on land to dozens of toadlets, each just a few millimeters long.
Well, live birth extremely rare in amphibians. Out of more than 4,000 species of frogs and toads, fewer than 1% give birth to live young. The 3 varieties of tree toad from Tanzania were previously classified as one species. Very interesting.
Very cool.
Alex is back as we take a final check of the forecast.
Yeah, our forecast tomorrow and going into Saturday might confuse any of those frogs that haven't started hibernating yet back into the 60s again. But then that's a dose of reality coming back on Sunday, back into the 40s again. A little weather system we'll keep an eye on to bring us some small chances for rain, a couple snow showers possible Monday night going on into Tuesday. Hopefully we keep that weather system Thursday and Friday in the cards. I know there's still some farmers doing some harvesting. But boy, oh boy, we could certainly use some water in southern Wisconsin.
It's been a while, exactly.
It's very dry.
And it'll be nice for a few days here. You'll love that.
Alex, thank you. And thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10. Coming up next, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Our next show is tomorrow morning at 4:30. You can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+.